So we're back with America to Korea A2K. It's episode 14 where the showcase performances actually happen. So there's no cliffhanger where we're gonna not see the performances. At least we'll see two of them this time around. So uh, at this point, this is where the final candidates are going to be decided based on this final performances. Obviously, it's JYP and Nickun as a guest judge. And so let's just get into it. Now, the first one up, I think, is going to be Team C in practice. Team C calls themselves LGYM on your mind. Gina says she's the cute one. Lexi considers herself the silly one. Melissa is the leader. And then Yuna says she guessed she's the funny one. Now, when it came to Melissa, she said basically that she decided to help them work on their weaknesses together. And so they were training for the fields. And I noticed something during the section is that when they were doing the fields here, it kind of sounded a little jazzy, but maybe that's just the piano-only version. And during this time, Yuna was doing the part that's normally done by Cheon in Twice, and she's basically having trouble staying on beat. So this is probably the third time now where she's consistently demonstrated that she does have problems feeling out the music, staying in the pocket and staying on beat. And so during this, she started to lose confidence, and she actually cried as well during the practice. Now, other than that, there was a situation with Gina being low on breath still. This was when they were only 10 hours away from the final performance. And so they did show a section after that where Melissa was trying to tell them about some towels methods of like singing and breathing and practicing. And so I don't really know what these lessons are that they did here, but it seemed to help a lot. And so that was the practice. It was pretty clear that the issues mainly lied with Yuna and then Gina. And so they get to the performance, and actually, I was pleasantly surprised. It was a decent start. Gina, I noticed that she was still hit or miss on the breathing. Like sometimes she would fall short and the sound wouldn't come out, but then sometimes she would sing and it would be really nice and loud. And so I noticed that issue was still there, but sometimes she got it, and mostly she got it. And then Yuna, there were times when I thought she might have been offbeat, but then I wasn't sure if it was like the editing because they kept cutting back just to show like JYP's reactions or something, and so the song would jump back and forth, and so I got this feeling of like slight offbeatness, but I don't know if that's just the editing. They did show the same clip later on when JYP was talking about Yuna's section, and I noticed that it wasn't offbeat in that section. And so clearly there was something going on with the editing, maybe just to mislead the audience, who knows. But I feel like during this performance, most of the problems were kind of just like, not really a big deal. They were kind of just problems vocally, but in that respect, they were kind of talk singing more than anything. And so it wasn't like there was like any bad cracks or anyone was like off key or off pitch or anything. And so that was pretty much it. Other than I noticed that Yuna's lines were very good, and her curves seemed to be better than other members. Like, for example, Melissa, sometimes her moves were kind of... I'm not really sure if they interpreted the song correctly. You could look at the booty pop, whereas when most of them did it, and you can notice that Melissa was probably a little bit more stiff, but then the other members weren't like as good at it as Yuna, for example. But I noticed that Lexi pushes harder in her moves, and so if they're like doing like a shove with their arms, she puts a lot more strength into it, and so I would say that this performance it definitely kind of rough compared to like longtime trainees that you'll see on like Girls Planet, for example, but it's pretty good for amateurs who are just kind of like, you can tell most of them are kind of like just dancers or just singers, and a lot of it's kind of like it's not like a professional atmosphere that they've been in, so I guess it was pretty good for that. I gave it a 6.5 out of 10 if I was to judge the performance, which is kind of 7 to me is a good performance. 8 is like really good, 9 is like pro, and then 10 is like too perfect. And I don't really judge anyone out of 10, really. I don't even really judge like professionals out of 10 when I see them. For example, like if I'm looking at people doing a live stage in K-pop, I don't even give them 10s sometimes, but sometimes it's pretty good, like 9.8. So anyways, you get to the critiques from JYP, and JYP says Gina's voice was good. He said Yuna looked confident. Melissa, she was really good at developing the teamwork. and Lexi, her vocals were stable, but he felt like she didn't reach high enough. And that criticism, you could tell that it affected Lexi because she didn't get the stone that she really wanted. And as someone who was like an early favorite of mine and many others and most people, I would say, she definitely like. I think that not getting that stone would be like, it would feel like disappointing because of just the pressure. As for Nick Kunz, he was basically saying that he saw them all filling each other's weaknesses to the fullness, and he said it was otherwise pretty good. So at the end of their performance of the Feels, Melissa, actually all of them who didn't have a character stone, I think they all got a character stone. And so that was Melissa. She gained a character stone, and then Gina gained a character stone, and that stone is going to make sure that she's guaranteed to go to Korea. So she's one of the first who's she's like the second person I think to get a lock to go to Korea now. And then Yuna gained the vocal stone, which was very like when you looked at the chat on YouTube, they were all like really happy about that. Yuna's become like a quick favorite for not even for really any like skillful reasons. I think it's just kind of like the meme content that she has, where she's kind of like more relatable than the others in the whole team, just because for personality, I would say more than anything. And so that was Team C. I think they did pretty good. Some people are going to be disappointed by the 6.5 I gave them, but you have to remember that my scaling system is probably not the same as your scaling system. What is a bad performance to me is around 3 and 4. So going to the next team, it's Team A. And so we get to Team A, and they call themselves Team CKC. And to be honest, like chat was kind of giving them a hard time for it, and JYP was giving them a hard time for it. But then people would say, JYP, you're literally just called JYP. And then you have to remember that Team C was just LGYM, which was the initial of their first names, except it said LGYM on your mind. That's it. And so you can tell that they were kind of experienced in how they typically do things on these kind of survival shows. But CKC, they didn't have a cheer or anything. They didn't define their personalities. They just kind of said, we're CKC. And so when you get to practice, you see that vocally in practice, Camilla does very well. And then Christina, her voice was not that strong. KG, her voice was very good. And then Christina, because of this, she was losing a lot of confidence. And you can tell that she really just kind of like she continued to persevere out of responsibility to her teammates, and I thought that was a really good quality. I would hope that she has more inner motivations to like do better on her own and find her own drive, because that's kind of something that you would kind of hope for her to have, for her to like succeed in this, I guess, industry. When it came to dance, KG was the one who was struggling to keep up. She was having trouble just from the very beginning. It seemed like. Now, as for like Camilla, she became the leader, and I always said that I always saw Lexi or Christina as the leader, but then Chad would always say they saw Camilla as the leader, and I never understood why, because I didn't really see anything, but they seemed to just vibe check on something, and so maybe it's like a female thing. Females just know the queen bee, and so I would just say that she was doing a lot of heavy lifting here, even though KG and Christina are basically like oppositions where KG can sing, Christina can dance. They could have taught each other, but Camilla was the one apparently who had to step in because they were all struggling with their own like ability to do the other thing, and so she luckily they had her and she was able to help them. And I noticed that at one point Christina fell and grabbed her head, and that seemed to be because of a medical issue. They actually called like an ambulance, and that was like very shortly before the final performance. And so hold on, I think I got a bingo card here. Medical emergency drama. I feel like that works. So early fave coasts, popular song carry. I feel like I could give both of these, but I'm gonna wait until we see more individual performances, because they didn't really have a choice. They didn't get to choose it really. And then early fave coasting. I mean, I might give that to. I'm not even sure who an early fave is, other than Lexi and maybe Camilla, and they definitely didn't coast. They earned it. And so let's get back to it. So that's Team A's practice. And then we get into the performance. Now, this was a good start. And, when I'm watching this, I'm like, wow, Camilla is a lock for sure. We already knew that before, though. But I'm just saying that it was well deserved because you could actually see it in her. She has everything from the posture right to the moves to the expressions. Everything was right, and she's like so. She's just like kind of like she switched on. She turned on her talent, and she was just selling it really well. Now Christina, she was singing okay actually, and I was actually surprised because I thought that with all of the drama, the medical stuff, that she wouldn't do well, but she actually did well, and I was kind of like every time she was singing, I was on edge because she was kind of like teetering there, but she would always come through, and so she did well. And KG was doing mostly fine. The only thing I would say is that she seemed slightly off center, and I would say that's probably because it's like height related. She just danced a little bit closer to the other girls a lot of the time. Either that or Camilla was dancing a little bit further from the other girls, but I would say it's because KG's smaller, her arms don't go that far, and so she has to like line up with the other girls, and that's why she was slightly closer. But other than that, she did pretty well. And to me, this performance was better than Team C's. Now, a lot of people in chat enjoyed Team C's performance more, but for me, I would say Team A, in terms of just like the quality and the polish of it, I would say this was a 7.8 in terms of performance, which is pretty good. Uh, and pretty good for them. And this is like kind of ignoring the vocal stuff because you know it's not like they have amazing voices yet. But I'll say Camilla and KG held it together pretty strongly because of that. For that reason, I would give it a 7.8. But normally I would say if Christina's voice was not like exceeding where she needed to go, then I would drop it down to as like a 7.4 maybe. But to me, it's a 7.8 because she actually did pull through. So according to JYP's criticism, he was really happy with it. He said this song is hard, and so I don't know anything about that. I actually underestimated the song when I first saw it, and I was like, because to me it's just kind of like you listen to these kind of songs, and it's like because it's so melodic and like straight through, you don't think it's gonna be hard to do. But he's saying, oh, you have to hold the melody while you're dancing, and I was like, I can kind of see where he's coming from there. And so obviously he was really impressed with this, and he was saying that Camilla was the Beyonce of A2K. Even Nick couldn't. He said Camilla looked so professional, and I agree with that. You could actually just see it. Like it's just intuitively you know it when you see it. Now when it came to Christina, JYP said her dance was so perfect, it was beautiful, and he gave a whole bunch of other adjectives which I can't remember at this point. But he also said that she improved in vocals, and then he gave her a vocal stone on the spot. And that vocal stone guaranteed her spot in going to Korea. And so Christina managed to get all the stones. I'm really happy for her. I've always like wanted Christina to do well, and to some she may fly under the radar, but to me, I always see her succeeding. Other than the vocal challenge, and that vocal challenge really worried me because when you hear their voices in just the previews, you're like, can this person even get to that point where it's going to be really good? Who knows? And then came KG, and basically uh, KG, Nickun said that she was the smallest, but she had the biggest energy. Now, I'm not sure if I feel that way. I felt like her moves were kind of small. And so, even though she danced mostly fine, I felt like even like just like doing a body roll was kind of small, and then like putting your arms out was kind of like small. I feel like she could have put her arms out a little bit further, could have done a little bit more, and I don't think it's just because of her height. I think it's just like you could actually see it, and for that reason, I would say that if she could have done way better. But it's not really like a big deal because she already has a dance stone. So basically, other than that, I noticed that KG didn't get a character stone, which if she did get, it would have locked her in to go to Korea as well. And so that was kind of interesting there. I'm not sure what criteria she would need to cover to get the character stone, but and you have to remember that in the team C, they all got character stones at the end of the performance if they didn't already have one. And so that was kind of concerning, but it seems like it's there for dramatic effect, or she may just be someone who doesn't get it. But I don't know if you need all the stones to go to Korea. Some people might just still go. But anyways, that is that. And unfortunately, after that, we hit the dreaded cliffhanger. And so we don't get to see the third performance by Team B. That's next week, along with the final rankings and tears galore, because you can tell that there's going to be so many tears. And so that is that. That is this week's America to Korea. Let's look at where we are with the stones. And so here, the blue ones are a lock for Korea. And the top is Team A, bottom Team C, middle is Team B. We're waiting to see Team B and what happens with them. And so Camilla's got all her stones. Christina's got the stones. Gina's got the stones. And then some people got bonuses. Yuna got the vocals, and for someone who was fairly far behind, and everyone was saying was gonna flop, she really racked these up really quickly, I think. And then also, a whole bunch of people got, like Melissa, got a character stone, so she gained ground. And then also, I would think, who else? No, that's it. Everyone, I guess it was Yuna who got the character stone, and that's why she's a lock now. And so, looks like in Team C, I'm not sure. These guys, maybe they should be worried, but I don't think Lexi should be worried, and I don't really think Yuna should be worried, just because she's a literal fan favorite. Now, I don't know how delayed out of time these videos are, and so I don't know if JYP is going to be like, wow, look how popular Yuna is, she may go through, and look how popular Melissa is, she may go through, who knows. But I feel like, so far from everything I've seen with the performances today, I would give the top row and the bottom row a total pass for them to go to Korea and train more, and once they get way more polished, once they'll be challenged more as well. Once you beat the boss, you just end up getting a bigger and badder boss. That's just the way life goes, and that's the way video games work. And video games are a reflection of real life. and then next week, you got the Team B guys here. Kendall, a lot of tears and a lot of stress you can see coming her way next week. For someone who was kind of like stoic through most of this, kind of coasting, and everyone was like, how is she doing so well? Now she's like way more stressed than anybody, I think. Kaylee, that's the one who cries a lot. Hopefully she pulls through as well, but I feel like a lot of the times they go easy on her a little bit. But then she cries, and then they're like, kind of smooth it over. But I feel like she's got to learn to kind of like, she's a kid, but she's got to learn to suck it up a little bit. Now Savannah, I'm hoping she goes through. I'm hoping she gets, what is the green stone anyways? Is that the vocal stone? I hope she gets that. Then Misha, she's probably the one who's the most behind. I would like to see her get character stone, vocal stone, and a dance stone if she can. Is green the dance? I think green might be the dance stone actually, and so hopefully, does Savannah not get a dance stone? No, she does. I think green is the vocal stone, unless I got this completely wrong in my charts here. But anyways, I guess that's it. Things are not looking good for Misha right now. But anyways, I think that's my prediction. I think that Savannah will pull through, because there's no reason for her not to pull through. She just needs confidence, and we know that she can. We know that she can sing, and all she needs is that vocal stone. And as for Kaylee, Kaylee's been kind of. I felt like when I first saw her, I was like, this little girl is smart. She knows how to prepare and achieve things. But as time has gone on, and like her stability has been kind of wavering, I noticed that she hasn't been able to practice with as much what's the term here? Foresight or perception. Like, she doesn't really know what she has to fix, which is kind of the opposite of what I thought about her when she was first in here. And so maybe she's just too young right now. And so, but if she's not, or if she can be carried in some way by the other teammates, that would be a big plus for her. And hopefully she is relying on the other ones. And obviously everyone looks at her as the baby of the group. So, I mean, she could pull through. Kendall, she's got one of the biggest challenges here, which is that she really doesn't know what's wrong with her voice. She doesn't know the difference between the falsetto and just her normal range. And you know what? You know why it is, I think. because she does have this kind of like cutesy baby voice, and she's trying to sing more maturely, and because of that, she lets more air go through the passage and starts singing falsetto. And I think she's just used to trying to sing more maturely, but she really just needs to sing more kind of cutesy, and get that out there. And so I don't know. Maybe she could learn something from Kaylee. Who knows? But I guess that's it. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, give it a thumbs down, and let me know why in the comment box down below. I threw out my back last week, and the worst days were like Friday and Saturday and Sunday morning. I started to feel a little bit better, and now I'm kind of able to sit in this chair again, and so I'm doing good now. I'm not going to be impaired for more time. People thought I was going to be impaired for a week, but I recovered really quickly, and that's because I got lots of rest. Anyways, if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you guys for the support.